Jim Jones and the other voices on his podcast publicly criticized 50 Cent's documentary while recording an episode. That in our commentary didn't go unnoticed, and people connected to 50 Cent later responded, making it clear there were consequences for what was said.
Right now, he owes, I'm going to say in a short way, at least $80,000, if not $180,000.
What happened next wasn't a rap response or an online beacon. Instead, it escalated into leaked eviction clips, business ties with a property owner, and a carefully organized media push that ultimately blocked Jim Jones from accessing his own studio. This is how people connected to 50 Cent retaliated after Jones took shots at G-Unit. On February 19, 2026, surveillance video began circulating online. The footage showed Jim Jones forcing his way through a secured entrance at his podcast location after the electricity had been shut off and the door locks were replaced. The video didn't come from an unknown source. It was uploaded by 50 Cent himself, who revealed that he was working alongside the building's landlord and asserted control over the property. Soon after, the situation intensified. Individuals linked to 50 Cent, including business associates and the landlord, joined in publicly. Even Cameron Jones, former Dipset partner, weighed in. Eviction paperwork was shared online. Private phone calls were released. Posts circulated making fun of Jones' inability to keep the space heated. There was no physical confrontation. The response was strategic, hitting financially, unfolding in public, and clearly planned. And it wasn't random. The roots of the conflict traced back roughly 2 months earlier to a podcast discussion that struck a nerve. In December 2025, Jim Jones appeared alongside Dave East and Mino Fabulous on Let's Rap About It. The conversation shifted toward documentary films, specifically whether it was acceptable to produce one about someone without their permission. Dave East raised the question, and the responses that followed are what quietly set everything in motion.
Is it acceptable for someone to create a documentary about you without your approval? How would you feel if it happened to you?
Everyone in the room responded right away. Jim Jones dismissed the idea as childish and unnecessary, while Mino Fabulous liked it to releasing another person's recorded material without their permission.
It's like,
Definitely not acceptable. It's facetious and petty.
right. It's like somebody putting out your tape.
The pushback didn't stop there. The people on the show continued pressing the point, focusing on how releasing damaging footage publicly without concern for how it portrayed the person involved was being treated as acceptable.
Without your permission.
And you're not an actual porno star.
And they doing
The lighting wasn't good or nothing.
The message behind the discussion was clear. This wasn't an abstract debate, and even if it was framed that way, the timing suggested otherwise. 50 Cent had just put out Sean Combs' The Reckoning, a Netflix project centered on accusations involving Sean Combs. The team behind Let's Rap About It viewed the release as predatory in nature. They described it as a staged portrayal, challenged the intent behind its creation, and portrayed the series as an effort to use filmmaking as a tool against someone else. As the conversation continued, the hosts sharpened their wording, clearly signaling their belief that producing a documentary designed to damage someone's image without their approval crossed a serious line.
you just look bad.
What?
Oh, they caught me on a bad day?
Right.
I wasn't even on my This they caught a weak one.
Tension filled the space as the conversation continued, with everyone doubling down on the belief that this type of public release was intended to permanently harm a person's
See
reputation.
that the lighting is dark?
Damn.
You see that the lighting is dark?
Got me looking
You
small
still
out
put
here.
this on the internet?
Word up.
Jim Jones wrapped up his thoughts with a single statement that would shape the direction of all events that came afterward.
But I would feel.
I ain't gonna front. I think,
Yeah, I would feel messed up.
if they saluting you,
First of all, they want somebody doing a documentary about you.
The message was straightforward. A documentary's purpose should be to respect its subject, not harm them. Jim Jones emphasized this principle with strong
I
certainty.
wanted to be a dope documentary.
it gotta be dope.
Showing who you are, what you've done,
Put out no bullshit
everything
on
you've
me.
accomplished. Like, a documentary is a big thing. Like, you don't want nobody doing a documentary about like trying to just make your whole character look weak. Like, that's petty behavior.
Jim Jones was speaking specifically about a documentary or making a broader point remained unclear. Mino Fabulous also raised questions about the legality of such a project. Touching on issues like defamation and the unauthorized use of someone's image, Mino later clarified on Instagram that his remarks were intended as a general discussion about documentaries, not as a direct attack on 50 Cent, but by that time, the impact had already been felt. 50 Cent interpreted the comments as a personal challenge. Once he took offense, he didn't respond with just words. He publicly labeled the podcast hosts as squatters and alleged they owed up to $250,000 in back rent for the studio where they recorded. He reposted clips on Instagram with mocking captions, offered to purchase the studio outright, and began undermining the credibility of the hosts who had questioned his own. In response, Mino fired back with personal insults on Instagram, warning 50 Cent that if there was conflict, it would be addressed. By Christmas Day 2025, the Let's Rap About It team released a freestyle over 50 Cent's own beats, asserting squatter rights. While bold, this move only gave 50 more material to act on. What Jones and his co-hosts didn't anticipate was that their criticism of 50 Cent's documentary had opened the door for a far more serious response. Instead of limiting himself to bars or Instagram posts, 50 went straight to the source, the studio's landlord. He recorded the conversation, a move later described by fans and commentators as calculated and ruthless. 50 Cent shared an audio clip of a phone call with the building owner, Sam, where the deteriorating business relationship was laid bare. Sam detailed how the partnership had become strained and financially untenable, providing 50 with leverage over the podcast crew and their studio space.
Build it, but he won't sign the lease. He's like, I don't like these terms. I want like 6 months of build out. And ridiculous bullshit.
Sam explained that Jim Jones had been using the studio under unclear lease conditions, requesting significant modifications to the space while declining to sign a formal agreement. That would have made the arrangement official. According to Sam, it appeared as though Jones wanted to enjoy all the advantages of the location without taking on the responsibilities tied to it. Yet, the money issues extended beyond just unpaid rent.
Also have a partnership agreement where half of what he's building now, his media, belongs to us. But he won't tell us how much he's making and doing all these things. So half of the content he's creating, if you want to buy that too, I'll sell you half the company.
The landlord's role went beyond simply owning the building and collecting rent. He claimed he had a contractual interest in the content produced by the podcast. According to Sam, roughly half of the material Jones was creating was technically part of the building owner's share under their initial agreement. Jones, Sam alleged, refused to report his earnings or comply with the terms of that arrangement. This lack of cooperation reportedly strained the relationship to the point where Sam considered selling his media stake to an outside party, specifically to the very person involved in the dispute with his tenant. By offering that stake to 50 Cent, Sam highlighted just how transactional the situation had become and how little confidence remained in the partnership's success.
Insane. To me, it's worth very little to nothing. But if it works out for you, I just throw that in as a sweetener. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is he signed a lease.
Then, the landlord revealed a figure that would dominate the news cycle. For days, completely altering public perception of the Let's Rap About It operation.
I want to know, how did 50 Cent get access to the camera? Because it's giving Big Brother.
Financial numbers were shocking reports, said Jim Jones and his Let's Rap About It crew owed anywhere from $80,000 to $250,000 for their studio. Ironically, the same team criticizing 50 Cent couldn't even cover basic utilities. 50 Cent made the situation public, mocking them online. Soon, reports suggested he had partnered with or acquired the building, giving him control over the space. He posted, "Sam is my partner. I own the joint. Now you're going to fix every door you kick or I'm going to kick your Jimmy." On February 19, 2026, he uploaded high-definition security footage showing Jones struggling to enter IFC Film Studios. The lights were off, doors locked, and electricity cut. Jones eventually kicked open a door, every move captured on camera. The post included a pointed caption referencing the podcast. "Damn bro, let's rap about it, LOL." He also shared an eviction notice confirming the lease had already been terminated. Online reactions were instant. Fans praised 50 Cent's strategic, nonviolent approach, while speculation swirled over how he accessed the cameras. Commentary channels broke down the story as a mix of old beef, business disputes, and social media strategy. 50 Cent continued to apply pressure, posting clips, tagging people, and setting deadlines, turning humiliation into a sustained campaign. Jim Jones responded subtly, posting an Instagram story of himself performing martial arts with the caption, "Kung Fu Jim, no locked doors at all." It was a deflective move, avoiding direct confrontation while keeping the feud alive.
Same outfit from the viral clip that started showing off martial art moves with Bruce Leroy in the back. Talk about show now.
Urban Central noted that Jim Jones skillfully avoided giving 50 Cent an emotional advantage, choosing, instead, to deflect the situation and channel the tension in a controlled way.